Are you feeling stuck in your business, professional, or personal life? Or are you struggling to find purpose and direction? Imagine having a clear sense of direction, achieving your goals, and living a fulfilling life. Joy Onyesoh Coaching Consult is here to help you. We will work with you to identify your strengths, overcome obstacles, and develop a personalized plan to achieve your dreams. With our coaching and consulting services, you will gain clarity, confidence, and the tools you need to succeed. Do not let fear, lack of clarity, or doubt hold you back any longer. Take the first step towards achieving your goals and living your best life. Contact Joy Onyesoh Coaching Consult today. Joy Onyesoh Coaching Consult, empowering you to reach your full potential. Call, SMS, or WhatsApp +234 704 229 1171. Or you can visit our website www.joyonyesohcoachingconsult.com. Hello. A very good evening to you. Welcome to another exciting episode of Friday Night Hangout. Oh, yes. And I'm your host, Joy Onyesoh. It's always a delight. It's always super exciting to be with you every Friday as we navigate very topical conversation. So welcome once more. We're going to be talking tonight on how to build effective communication in family relationships. How do you communicate effectively in family relationships? Yeah. But before we go into that, you know the drill. I always love to know how you're doing. So please use the comment section, #TGIF. Tell me where you're joining in from and let me know how the week has been. It's Friday Night Hangout. This is Friday Night Hangout. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome. You're in a safe space. And trust me when I say this is the beginning of a new journey for you. You're going to get a lot of nuggets on how to navigate, challenging, complex situations, either in your business or in your personal life. So you're welcome, and stay with us right in. Before we go into the conversation fully tonight, I want to revisit the conversations we had last week on nurturing friendships, right? How do we build sustainable connections? And there is a particular question I want to address, because that question, I find it very insightful, and you may find yourself in this situation. So we had one of our a guest asked this question. She said, how do you navigate unrequited friendship? This is a situation where you see someone as your friend and the person doesn't see you as a friend. That was the exact question. How do you do this? Now, this can be very challenging, because when you see someone as your friend and the person is not returning the same energy, these days we say energy for energy, and you're not feeling the vibes, you're not feeling the energy. So I want to tell us that there are different reasons for that, so you don't quickly jump into conclusion. The first may be, you both may have different definitions of what friendship really is. And so that's why it's important that you have honest, open dialogue. So what do you understand as friendship? What are your expectations in that relationship? Because the other person may not even be aware that these are your expectations from that relationship. So you will be having some unmet expectations because you've not had time to have that conversation. So if you're in that situation where you feel that you're investing a whole lot into a relationship and the other party is not investing as much energy or putting in as much effort into growing or nurturing the relationship, before you decide to throw in the towel, can you have frank conversations to say, okay, this is how I feel about you. This is how I feel about our relationship. These are my expectations in this relationship. And I expect you to do da, right? And then the person will have the opportunity of responding. You will give the person the opportunity to say, oh, okay, this is not the way I see this. And perhaps from the conversation you would have, you would know that you're putting in so much energy than the person expects you to put in. And then you can now make up your mind, okay, do you want to continue with this relationship, or do you want to slow down, or do you want to keep it as just an acquaintance? Because there's a difference, like I said last week, between, a friend, a colleague, an acquaintance. So there are different categories of relationship. Let's be mindful really about who we call a friend. And that's why you need to have that frank conversation. When you see someone not giving you the same vibe or not giving you the same energy, before you go off and call the person name or think the person is a bad person, it may be that you have different understanding or expectations, and you need to have that conversation. So I hope you've this has responded, to the question you asked last week. And then you may also ask, okay, how else can I handle it? Like I said, have frank conversations, right? Accept what the person is willing to give. And this is a very serious thing, because sometimes we don't accept what people are willing to give in a relationship. We want more than what they can give. And this creates a lot of problems down the line. So I'm going to stop here, because that's not the conversation for tonight, but we're still on effective communication and we're still on relationship. But tonight we're going to focus on how to build effective communication in our family relationship. Okay, so let's go right into that conversation tonight, talking about family. This is a very sensitive area, because family is our first point of socialization. It is where we get nurtured. It is in the family is where we find, or where we hope to find, our first point of support in terms of your life journey. So you want to have your sibling, your parents, your cousins, depending on if you're looking at the nuclear family or the extended family, you want to have them show up for you big time. And so it's very important that we learn and build the skill of effective communication. This will help save a lot of problem I see down the line, right? It helps save a whole lot of problem. So tonight we're going to be talking about how then do we navigate being understood and understanding in a family relationship. Because one, you want to understand your family member's perspective, and you also want to be understood, right? And the other thing we're going to talk about as well very quickly is, how do I navigate disagreements? Disagreements are bound to happen. Conflicts are about to happen. How do you navigate this in a way that is respectful, in a way that honors the other person without really tearing people apart? Then the third thing we're going to talk about tonight is, how do we build trust? How do we build trust in a family relationship? And finally, how do we create a safe space that honors the voices of every family member, so that the voice of every family member will be heard? How do we create inclusive space? So let's go to the first bit, which is, how do we ensure that we understand our family members and they also understand us? This is very critical, because this is also at the core of communication. Sending off a message, being understood, and also understanding what it is. So the first thing I will say here is, do you have a skill set in active listening? If you want to understand, then you need to practice active listening. What is active listening? Active listening is the art of intentionally focusing on what the other person is saying with your full presence. You want to comprehend exactly what is being said. You want to comprehend even what is not being said, because you know that communication is not just verbal communication. We also have the non-verbal communication. And one way of understanding what is not said or reading in between the lines is when you're able to pay rapt attention to what someone is saying. Now, with this advent of the smartphones, the social media, sometimes we're having conversations and you're telling the person, hey, keep talking now, I'm listening to you, I'm listening with my ears. That is not a way to practice active listening. One, you're dismissive. You want to focus on who is speaking to you, because you're also going to see and you're going to read the body language. So it's important that you pay rapt attention and you're not doing something else because it looks very dismissive and it makes the person feel, oh, this person is not listening to me, right? And nothing about active listening is you're not quick to give a response. So for some of us, somebody is talking, as the person is talking, already justifying, giving response and all of that. It means you're not even paying attention to what the person is saying, right? So if you want to understand and be understood, you need to pay attention. So active listening is one of the skills that you need to have. Then another thing you need to do is that you will need to express yourself clearly. Clear communication. And I say this because a number of us find it difficult to express. We ramble, and in between we lose the thought process. In between we confuse issues. In between we conflagate the issues, and then it becomes something else. So keep it simple. You want to say something, you want to express your thoughts, you want to express, your feelings. Can you just say it in a very clear language? Do not go about this bogo. Sometimes we want to use very big technical terms to express something that you can just say in clear language. The simpler language, the simpler expression you use, the easier it is for someone else to understand, and then it also minimizes the risk of being misunderstood. So please keep your expressions clear and simple. And you may also need to reemphasize or reiterate or say whatever it is you've said again so that the person can understand what you're saying. You see, nurturing relationships require a lot of intentionality and effort. And then when we're talking about family member, we just want to make sure that we are putting in our best. Thank you so much, Ozioma. She says, some people don't listen. Even when they're looking at you, their attention is divided. That is true. They can look at you and then their mind is somewhere else. They're thinking about, oh, that work I haven't done, that task that is there. What am I going to cook in the evening? And so when they're looking at you, you would know when someone is paying attention to you. You would know when someone is listening to you. Beyond the person saying, I hear you, you will feel that you're being heard. Now, this is very important. Then you also need to have the bit of, being not judgmental. This one, when we say, I'm not judgmental. See, when you're not judgmental, you're listening, you understand your bias, and you're listening with the intent of understanding. You're listening with the intent of showing empathy. So this is very important. Now, someone may call you wanting to vent. That's not the time to be telling the person what is wrong and what is right. That's the wrongest of time. The person has an overflow of emotions. The person is going through stuff, and the person is calling you as a family member, either as a sister, as a brother, or your parent is calling you, or you as a parent, you're calling your children, and you want to vent depending on what it is, right? And then that's not the time for you who is listening to start telling the person, oh, you didn't do this one well. Yours is to listen actively. Listen actively. Let the person pour out that emotions. That's why the person sees you as a safe space. That's why the person has come to you, to express, right? And when people understand that, listen, I can come into this space and pour out without, being judged, without being told that, oh, my decisions are wrong or right. There is a time when you will do this, not at the point where emotions are high, not at the point where emotions are low, right? It could be an overflow, or it could be, low emotions, and the person comes to you. That's not the time to start pointing out this. Your job, your primary assignment at that person is to receive and make the person feel safe, right? Let the person feel heard. I hear you. You don't need to say, I hear you. But by the attention you give the person, by the focus you give to the person will hear you in his or her soul saying, I got your back. I hear you. There will be the time to ask those other questions. So for some of us, someone is coming to you and pouring out. That's when you remember to start asking the person 1,001 questions, trying to point out. That's not the time to do that. No. That's not the time to do that. What you could do is to either trigger the person to get so upset, or you trigger the person to shut up. The person will want to talk, and the person will clamp up immediately because you're cutting through the person's emotion. You're not allowing the person to express. So allow the person to express. You should be a safe space as a family member. So I just want you to reflect on that. How safe are you as a family member? How safe do people feel coming to you to express themselves, right? So if you want to be understood, and if you want to understand, emotions, feeling your family member, these are some of the keys that you should be implementing. Now let's move to the second bit, which is, how do you navigate disagreements? It is unrealistic to think that in any family we won't have disagreements, to think that we won't have issues. Now, one of the first things we want to learn is how to communicate respectfully. Some of us don't have it in our DNA. When you're upset, you tear down the person. So you, instead of addressing the issue, you address the person. You tear the person down. You use hurtful, damaging words. You tell the person, oh, look at how you are. See your mouth. This, that, 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 that. You tear down the person. Words are like bullets. Once it leaves your mouth, you can say sorry, but it's really very difficult to correct the damage. The person would still remember how you made him or her feel. The person will still from time to time remember the words you have spoken. So before you throw out that words in anger, abusing and tearing down people, trying to take away their dignity, making them feel so small, making them feel so little, please just know that that's not an effective way to communicate. Yes, it's okay to get upset, but you need to learn also how to manage that emotions, that anger, in a way that is not destructive. So please learn how to communicate, respectfully. You can say what you want to say without tearing the next person down. Thank you so much. Ozima says the person would come back again next time. That's it. When you tear me down with your words or with your verb, your facial expression, your body language, I won't come back next time to you, okay? Now, the other thing we want to do when there are disagreements is not to make assumptions. Most times, some of the issues in the family is assumptions that have been made. And it's even more, it's deeper and a whole lot complex in families because, when you love someone, when you feel this person should have my back, the betrayal hurts deep. It hurts a whole lot. So if you make assumptions about intentions and then you act in certain ways and you say certain things, the damage, the hurt, is so deep. So before you run off with that assumption, can you seek for clarification? So even when you feel you know someone so well and you think the person must say, oh, I understand, I can interpret this action, I can interpret this, can you seek for clarification so that you truly understand what the person is saying or what the person is acting and you're not reacting to your assumptions? When you assume a lot, you make people feel uncomfortable around you because people just wonder, I don't know what I will say and she'll react this way. I don't know what I will say and she'll assume this. They will start walking on eggshells with you. And one of the worst things to do in any relationship, especially in the family setting, is when people walk on eggshells. You have husband and wife walking on eggshells because you don't know what you say and the wife will blow off. You don't know what you say and the husband will blow off. So, there's a whole lot of people are walking on eggshells because of that kind of assumptions. And before long, it could lead to a very toxic situation. So if you have siblings, you have brothers, you have sisters, take out time to clarify and take out time to seek, understanding before you react. Okay. Now you also want to be sure that no matter how much disagreements that you have, that you can come to a common ground. You can come to a common ground. What do I mean by that? You can agree to disagree. You mustn't always be on the same page. Like you mustn't have the same perspective because you're different people, right? Yes, the same parents, yes, siblings, but perspective can differ because your lived experiences are different. You hang out with different people, you do different kind of a job, you study different things, you interact differently, your emotions are wired differently. So of course your perspective would be different. So can you make out time to seek common ground to say, okay, this is how I see this based on XYZ. I do not agree with you, but I'm agreeing that we can move on. I'll respect your opinion. I'll respect your perspective, but this is what I believe. And it's difficult for me to shift from this because of this. I've not seen a superior argument that will make me shift. And so that's okay. And that's not enough reason for you to hate people. Some of us, when people do not agree with us, when they don't share our perspective, we name them enemies. And you find out that you'll be a difficult person to get along with. Because once people do not share your perspective, you're angry. Once people do not share your perspective, you label them. You don't want to deal with them. It has to be your way. It has to be your perspective or no perspective. So that's wrong. So just, get to the point where you can, agree to disagree that, okay, I don't share this with you, but, life goes on. We must move forward. Now, one way of also managing disagreements or navigating conflict is when you build trust. When you build trust, you see, trust is earned. It's not something that you demand the next person to give to you. You have to earn it. And how do you earn trust? You earn trust by being open in your conversations. Can you express honestly how you feel? Can you express, your vulnerabilities, right? Can you feel free to express it? Of course, I do agree that there has to be that safe space for you to be able to, express how you feel, say your thoughts without repercussions, without expecting backlash, right? So, it has, what I'm saying here about trust is it has to be earned. So ask yourself, am I this person that when I say a thing, I do it? Am I consistent with showing up when I will say I'll show up? There's some people that will tell you they just give their commitments carelessly. Carelessly. It doesn't mean anything to them. Their word holds no water. There are certain persons that will tell you something that's good, and when the person tells you I'll do this, you just say, is it not this person? Check, just reflect. You have one or two in your space. When they tell you this, you don't take it seriously because you know that they may not even remember what they've told you. When they give you a commitment, right? When you give a commitment, you want to be consistent with that commitment. So that's one way of building trust. Apart from being open and vulnerable with your conversations, your feeling, your thoughts, you need to be consistent with your actions. You need to be consistent with your value, and you need to be accountable. You can't build trust when you're not accountable. So some of us, we find it difficult to say sorry. We find it difficult to own up to our mistakes. We will justify, we will defend. That's not a good way. So when you keep doing this, people know, oh, when I tell her now, she wants to justify it. So they'll say sorry, but you have already nullified the sorry. I'm sorry, but it's because why? And then for some of us, we're not accountable. We keep pointing fingers to the next person. Oh, it's because this person did that. That's why I reacted to that. That's not a good way to end trust. So you want to learn how to be accountable, that you own up when you do something wrong. You own up when there's a misstep, and you say you're sorry. And not just saying it, you mean it, and show that you're making amends. That way, one can see. So saying sorry without the requisite actions backing it up is just a waste of time. So you want people to trust you, my dear, end that trust. End that trust. So ask yourself this question: can my family member trust me? When I say I will show up, do I show up? Or you would say I will show up. Last minute you send a message, oh, this thing happened, I'm caught up in this place, and you do that consistently. So when there's a family meeting, say, don't. She said she's coming, please, she's not coming, let's go ahead. She won't show up. And true, you won't show up. So how can you build trust that way? So it's difficult. You need to end trust. Now we're going to take a break, a very short break. And then when we come back, we're going to wrap up the conversation with another very, very important aspect of this conversation, right? So don't go anywhere. Stay here with me. We'll be right back. We're just going for a short. Welcome to our She Speaks Masterclass on sustaining momentum, strategies for long-term impact. Are you a visionary and ambitious woman ready to scale your business and grow your impact? I am Joy Onyesoh, and I invite you to unlock your full potential by attending this 2-hour virtual masterclass. In this class, you will discover the secrets to sustaining growth, empowerment, and success in your business. We'll cover the fundamentals of business development, building a sustainable structure, and accessing resources for growth. By joining this masterclass, you'll gain clarity on business development principles to drive growth and success, a sustainable structure to support long-term expansion and momentum, resources for growth to fuel your business expansion, and a strong personal brand to attract opportunities and impact. That's not all. You'll walk away with a clear plan to sustain momentum in your business, strategies to overcome obstacles and stay focused, and a supportive community of like-minded women holding you accountable, and of course, practical tools to drive long-term impact and success. So, register now for our Sustaining Momentum Masterclass happening on the 30th of August 2025 and take the first step towards achieving long-term success and impact. And you know what? Distance is not a barrier because this is holding virtually. Do not miss out on this opportunity to sustain momentum in your business. Register now and let's get started on this journey to success. See you on August 30th, 2025. Follow us on social media for updates and behind the scene insights. See you in class. Okay, so welcome back, and that's the She's Master Class coming up August 30th. You saw the ads. If you haven't registered, what are you waiting for? So if you're thinking about sustaining momentum, you're already an entrepreneur, right? And you're building even your personal brand, and you're thinking about creating legacies, making sure that you create impacts, you provide solutions, then you need to be in this class. We're going to be looking at key things like how do you build structures, business structures that can last you a lifetime. How do you grow your business? How do you leverage resources? So it's going to be a very interesting conversation, and I'm very sure you don't want to miss this. Okay, so the link is in the comment section. Click on it and register. 30,000 naira, and it is virtual. It's going to be on Zoom. So thank you so much for all those who have already registered. I'm looking forward to meet you in the masterclass. And if you're yet to register, take advantage of this opportunity. Okay, so welcome back, and if you're just joining us, that's fine. We are having conversation on family relationship. How do you sustain effective communication in the family relationship, right? And we've talked about certain things, and now the final point before I summarize is creating a safe space for the voice of everyone to be heard in the family. You might say, oh, how is that possible? We're going to have dissenting opinions. So how then do we make sure that every family member feels valued? Safe spaces are very important space. So if the family is not a safe space, then this is where you have children going out to their peers to ask questions and get wrong responses, and you see them doing a whole lot of things. The family system is under attack right now, and you find that disconnect between parents and children, siblings. There's no support within the family, and that's why we're talking about effective communication and family relationship, because this is very key in building and sustaining a strong relationship. So parents, how do you communicate with your children? How do you make your children feel that you are a safe space where they can come and express their opinion without fear of any retribution or backlash? You will now say, that's how you did that other time. You're constantly reminding them of an opinion they shared. What will happen is that your children will not come to you again. That child will keep mute. If they feel that you're going to get upset by what they have to say or their perspective, they won't share, and they will go outside to explore or to experiment. So please be that safe space, and you listen to run to when there are issues. So you want to make sure that they feel heard. There is this powerful thing about being heard. When you know someone hears you, when you know someone feels you, when you know someone sees you, that's the space you want to keep going back to. So please, I want us to reflect on our families today. How are we making sure that the family is of a family member feels heard? Now, I do know that there are, certain situations where, Nibo will say, ofu name of the bro, ofu chike, meaning that you would have siblings, same parents, but with different attitudes, some behaving like, something else. And you're wondering, are we from the same parents? So what do you do? What do you really do in that situation? It comes back to what we discussed about navigating a disagreement. They're still your siblings, right? You would know how to navigate it. Sometimes you just withdraw your presence without getting abusive. So you still make sure that you're in safe space. When they decide to come back, you need to honor the boundaries, make sure it's safe both for you and your sibling, and even for parents. So you see these days parents taking a lot. So perhaps the child has been on Facebook and all of that. So please, you also want to be sure that this space is safe, but not at the detriment of your own well-being. Right? So that we don't preach to extremity. We know that there are aberrations, we know there are exceptions to the rule. So at the end of the day, you need to know and understand and feel when you feel threatened, when you feel it's not a safe space, and you have done all that is within your ability to do, and you see it's still not working. Listen, you can love from afar. You can love from afar. You don't have to put yourself or your life on the line. You can learn to love from afar. But before you throw in the towel, make sure you've done all what we've said. The first one is try to understand and be understood. Learn how to respectfully navigate disagreements, right? Make sure that you have built trust, right? And then make sure that you're also intentional in creating a safe space where people can air, your family members can air their opinion without feeling victimized or without feeling left behind. Okay, I always want to hear from you, right? Please use the comment section. If there are questions, please put it out there, and you can trust that in the next episode, we're going to deal with any question we've not taken now. So if you have questions on building effective communication in family relationship, or even the last episode we talked about nurturing friendships, please use the comment section. Put it there. I see you, Boma and Ekwe. Thank you so much for coming in. Welcome. Mr. Shola, thank you for coming in. I see you all. And if I haven't called your name, please permit me. Now, time is it's against us, and we have to call this interesting conversation to a close. It's always a pleasure. Remember, it's a Friday night. You need to smell the roses. It doesn't matter what is happening. God is faithful, right? But you can learn how to declutter and find your safe space. I look forward to seeing you next week, Friday, same time. Please come with someone with conversation on relationship still continues. See you next week, Friday. For myself and my team members, bye for now. We love you, we celebrate you, and we honor you. See you next week, Friday. Bye for now. Welcome to Power Woman Book. This book is designed to empower and inspire women to reach their full potential. As a woman who has navigated her own journey of self-discovery and growth, and also the author of the book, I'm excited to share my insights and experiences with you. In this 2-minute review, I'll explore the 8 chapters that will help you unlock your power and live your best life. Our journey begins with understanding forgiveness, balancing emotions, and overcoming obstacles. We'll discuss the importance of self-awareness, resilience, and determination in chapters 1 to 3. In chapters 4 to 6, We explore what it means to be a power woman, transforming your mindset and staying focused on your goals. You will learn strategies for building confidence, overcoming fear, and achieving success. Now, in chapters 7 to 8, you get to be inspired to persevere through challenges and take the leap towards your dreams. You will discover the power of resilience and determination in overcoming obstacles and achieving your goals. Now, remember that being a power woman is not just about achieving success. It's about living a life that is true to who you are. I hope this book will inspire you to tap into your power and live the life you desire. Take the next step towards unlocking your power and living your best life. Get ready to unleash your power and live the life you've always dreamed of. Grab a copy of the Power Woman book today.
This is Friday night, Hangout, creating our stories, piece by piece.